All right, so let's take a look at delegates. Um, and let's clean up our code a little bit from last time. So I'm just going to gut everything in main except my console.writeLine and readline. And let's get rid of this lambda operator. We'll talk about that later. We don't have this anymore, so let's just have our quotes in there. Get rid of this one. I'll shrink this guy down a little bit. Okay, so um, to sort of reiterate this stuff, say we have a public void because it doesn't return anything, print statement, and in this prints a keyword, so let's do state. We're going to delete this in a second anyway. Mint, and it's not inside of any sort of class, so that's a problem. So let's make sure it's in here, and let's delete this. There you go. Um, and then I'm going to console.writeLine this one. Hello from print statement method. Copy this, paste it here, and hit F5. Oops, looks like I forgot something. Oh, let's just make this static. So public static void. What that allows us to do is access it anywhere within the class. So let's try that again. Let me hit F5. So you could see we get hello from print statement, and then link hashtag is, and then we have to hit enter to get out of that statement. All right, so let's first look at how we define our delegate type. So what I'm going to do is make it public, and I'm going to call it delegate. And the delegate keyword is what specifies that it's delegate. And then the data type, so let's say it's a string, and I'm going to call this my delegate. And I'm going to have it pass in two arguments. Now there's a reason I made it a string, and you'll see that in a bit. So this is int, and then our first argument, and then our second argument. Alright, so above main, I'm going to go ahead and call our call two functions or create two functions. So they're both going to be static, so they can be accessed anywhere, and they're both going to be of type string. And this is going to be um, we're going to add two values that are going to be passed in, and then we're going to convert that to a string. So let's just call this um, add to nums. And what we want to do is we want to pass in two values here. Now we're getting a little squiggly here because we have a type, but we're not returning anything, but we will in a sec. So I'm going to actually bring in two integers, int a, int b, and I'm just going to return a plus b, but we want to convert that to a string. Now I'm just going to highlight this and grab a little bit of a space at the bottom, hit Control D so that it duplicates all of that. I'm going to name this mul2nums, and we'll just change the number to multiply, or change our sign, our arithmetic operator to multiply. So now we have one that adds two numbers and multiplies two numbers. Alright, so let's take a look at our, I'm going to go ahead and delete this print statement. I was going to run my delegates out of this, but we can just do it all out of main. So let's take a look at how we actually use our delegate here. Well, remember we called our delegate here my delegate. So we start off by just simply writing my delegate. Oops, not that guy. This one. And I'm going to assign it a name. So say my delegate, I'm going to name this AF for addition function. And I'm going to make that equal to add two numbers. Now, anytime I use AF, it's going to um, utilize what this function does, which adds two numbers. So let's take a look at that. So below it, I'm just going to do a simple console. Actually, let's just copy this line here. And inside the quotes here, we'll just write the two numbers added up are. And let's go ahead and hit a plus sign here. But watch this. I'm going to do AF and then open and close parentheses. And I'm just going to pass in two numbers. So here's 10 and then this is 20. Now when I go to run this, let's see what happens. Notice that the two numbers added up are 30, so 10 plus 20 is definitely 30, but we have this AF and it's utilizing this function. So now I can use this AF call anywhere. Let's go ahead and do another one. Let's go ahead and do our multiply one. So all I have to do here is duplicate this my delegates and name this AM and call multiply two numbers. Alright, so with this AM multiply two numbers, what I can do is duplicate this and the two numbers multiplied up multiplied R, and then I'll change this to AM. Well, you might be wondering, like, okay, well, that's great, Alex, like, um, but let's go ahead and stop this and rerun it too. Usually when I close it out, it just naturally stops it. So you can see 30 times 20 is definitely 200. Or I'm sorry, 10 times 20 is definitely 200. 30 plus 20, there we go, is 10 plus 20 is definitely 30. So you might be like, well, I could just call the function anyway. So what's the point of doing all this? Well, what's cool about delegates is they have the power to be anonymous and they have the power to be called at different times within your program and passed around. Something else I'd like to point out is I don't necessarily even need this here. I don't even need to necessarily create a whole new delegate object. I can honestly just copy this, paste it here, and then just reuse that name. So I can copy this, paste it here, and drag this down here. Get rid of the my delegate. And now AF is pointing to this new function. So we're using the exact same delegate, right? We're just pointing it to two different things. So let's kind of space these out a little bit better here. Now when I run this, we should get the exact same output. You can see we get 30 and 200. And we're using the same delegate. All right, so we'll expand on this next.